beep, beep, beep. Welcome to the call of the Edijester. How are we, everybody? It's chilly here this morning, but I hope you're well at any rate, wherever you may be in the world and around the globe. Firstly, my thanks to everyone who supports me, be that financially or by following and sharing my work. Thank you so much. I don't say it often enough, and I always say that I don't say it often enough. Every time I say that, I don't say it often enough. But that's just the way I am. So it's been a tremendous few days, and I don't know whether you're enjoying it, but I certainly am. They don't like it up, do they? People are panicking blind at what they see as the return of 1920s fascism. Let's wait and see what happens, shall we, on most of this? Really? Really, is that where you're at? And that is where they are. So, one day left. Come and join us for the Warrior Teacher Programme starting on Monday. So, this is the latest intake for February, and the next one is likely to be in April or May. So please do come and join us, become part of the team. We need you more than ever now, because there are going to be a lot of very confused people out there, and our ability to influence people one person at a time is the only way that we change this on a much larger scale. So here's an interesting one for us today. And I hope that it will be of interest to the new followers I've got on Twitter, because I managed to garner 1,000 of them yesterday. So we'll see where that's taking us. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll see. This is about medicine, and it's a very important one to me, because I was, really happy about this banning of words, which is really not what it is, but it's a banning of words. And so I get a little bit excited, and I put on Twitter, yoo-hoo, yay, away we go, here we go. And I was rightly pulled up by one of my veteran warrior teachers, Paul, bon viveur and globetrotter, who said to me, "Oi, you should be worried by the banning of any words, because you're always talking about censorship." And he's right. I am, and therefore I think it's important that I address the question that Paul, or the statement that Paul has made. I've addressed it to him on Twitter, but I wanted to have the conversation with you today so that perhaps we can talk about it a bit more in the old comments and on the Twitters and wherever it may be that you find this. So thanks very much, Paul, for prompting me to do a bit of thinking on this. It's been a very useful exercise for me. So let's go. I've come across an Inside Medicine article. This is a blog by somebody called Jeremy Faust, MD. And it says, breaking news, CDC orders mass retraction and revision of submitted research across all science and medicine journals. Banned terms must be scrubbed. Any unpublished manuscript mentioning certain topics, including gender and LGBT, must be pulled or revised. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. Now, that title there, that headline there, breaking news, mass retraction, and all that sort of stuff, you would think that what we're seeing here is the implementation of a regime of censorship. And my argument with Paul is, actually, we're not. What we're seeing is that in scientific endeavors, we're talking about science and medical journals, what we are seeing is we ask for clarity, you see. Now, we've been asking for that kind of clarity for years. Stop using these ridiculous bloody terms. And it looks like this particular edict from the Centre for Disease Control, the CDC there, is actually not censoring at all. And what it is saying is that there must be clarity in science and medicine journals. I'll leave you to decide whether I'm right about what's happening here, or whether Paul is in fact right to pull me up. So let's go. It says here from Jeremy, I believe we are breaking some news here to help sustain independent journalism and analysis. Please support Inside Medicine. If this is your bag and you like what they're doing, then you can support them. So the CDC has instructed its scientists to retract or pause the publication of any research manuscript being considered by any medical or scientific journal, not merely its own internal periodicals. Inside Medicine has learned. The move aims to ensure that no forbidden terms appear in the work. They've got forbidden terms in speech marks there. I think they're on dodgy ground. Appear in the work. The policy includes manuscripts that are in the revision stages at journal, but not yet officially accepted, so those that are being considered, and those that are already accepted for publication, but not yet live, i.e. they're not out and about in the world doing their thing. In the order, the CDC researchers were instructed to remove references to or mentions of a list of forbidden terms. Gender, transgender, pregnant person, pregnant people, LGBT, transsexual, non-binary, assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth, biologically male, biologically female, according to an email sent to CDC employees. And there's a picture of it there. I'll put this up in a minute, make it a bit bigger. All right, okay? Let's just keep going for a while, right? The policy goes beyond the previously reported pause of the CDC's own publications, including Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, MMWR, which has seen 2 issues go unreleased since January the 16th, marking the first publication gap of any kind in approximately 60 years. Emerging infectious diseases and preventing chronic disease, the CDC's other major publications, also remain under lock and key, but have not yet been affected because they are monthly releases and both were released as scheduled in January, prior to President Trump's inauguration. So, the policy also goes beyond the general communications gag order that already prevents any CDC scientist from submitting any new scientific findings to the public. So there's something going on here that needs looking at. The point is being well raised by this blog. The edict applies to both any previously submitted manuscript under consideration and those accepted but not yet published. So, for example, if CDC scientists previously submitted a manuscript to the New England Journal of Medicine, the Journal of American Medical Association, or any other publication, the article must be stopped and reviewed. These are hypothetical, he says, but are the examples of major journals where CDC officials often publish. How many manuscripts are affected is unclear, but it could be many. Most manuscripts include simple demographic information about the populations or patients studied, which typically includes gender and which is frequently used interchangeably with sex. That means just about any major study would fall under the censorship regime of the new policy, including studies on COVID-19, cancer, heart disease, or anything else, let alone anything that the administration considers to be woke ideology. Meanwhile, chaos and fear are already guiding decisions. While the policy is only meant to apply to work that might be seen as conflicting with President Trump's executive orders, CDC experts don't know how to interpret that. Do papers that describe disparities in health outcomes fall into woke ideology or not? Nobody knows, and everyone is scared that they'll be fired. This is leading to what Germans call Vorausetzende or preemptive obedience, as one CDC scientist commented. Right, so you can read the rest of that. Let's get shot of that for the minute. And let's have a look at what they've said, the words that they've used in specifying what's got to be taken out. It's interesting, I think, that they talk there about preemptive obedience as if that isn't something that woke is about. It's absolutely about preemptive obedience. But let's look at the wording and what we can see here in the document. So let's get it. Let's get that up for you now. General. You forwarded this message. So this has been sent out to people working at the Centre for Disease Control. So let's take a quick look through these words and see where the problem lies. Am I, as Paul accused me of, guilty of cheering on censorship? Paul, I argue I am not. And I shall look forward to seeing you the next week or so we can discuss it a little bit further. Okay, so you can't say gender anymore. Fine, say sex. Gosh, it might be that if you say sex, a lot of the obfuscation and nonsense that's going on will be gone. Transgender, you can't say that anymore. Good, because it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's an absolute fantasy. What that should say, if you're going to say transgender, say fashion choice, okay? Pregnant person and pregnant people. Do I really have to tell everybody that this is probably a good idea that you don't obfuscate in this way? It adds nothing. It's not that this is censorship, I think. I think this is asking for clarity. You don't say pregnant person or pregnant people. You say women or woman. It is not complicated. Number 5 in this somewhat bizarre but interesting hit parade, LGBT. LGBT without, it seems, the Q, the I, and the A, which probably needs to be added to this list. The LGBT is a collective noun. It doesn't mean anything. It's just simply saying, like, vegetables, same as trans vegetables. So they're going to have to take out the word the LGBT. My gosh. You might then have to say homosexual or gay. Right? Because the T is immaterial. Gender-affirming care is not gender-affirming care. The T is mental health or fetish and paraphilia. So it's got nothing to do with it. Transsexual, that can go too. Right? Doesn't need to be there. Doesn't describe anything that's real. Nothing at all. Right? It's got nothing to do with a diagnosis. The person is male or female and they have a diagnosis for X. Then they've got non-binary and non-binary, which I'm going to assume that you'll agree with me, has no place in anything to do with reality whatsoever. Because the minute you declare yourself non-binary, because you become the opposite of what isn't non-binary, in which case you're a binary. That's how stupid these people are. Then we've got the big 2 here at the bottom here. Assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth. Well, male and female. Thank you. That will do. And again, biologically male and biologically female. Male or female. So in other words, what I think this is not an act of censorship. I think it's a call for clarification within the scientific and medicine journals, which are so important to everybody and the health of the nation. I'm not sure that's censorship, but you'll tell me, I'm sure, whether it's censorship. But I don't see any one of those words on that list that needs to be used ever. But that could just be me. I'll wait to hear from you. The wisdom of crowds, the collective wisdom of you lot. So come and be a warrior teacher. Only got a day. I can get you signed up in half an hour. Come on, come and join us. It's going to be fun. And I shall see you later. Ta-ta!